Hey, it's Uncle Bear, and today it is experiment 122. That means that it's a third of a year today with this project that is going on for a year, I believe. And today the topic is elders, admiration for elders. This week's theme is admiration. And I want to admire the elders. I hopefully am on my road to being an elder. Some people have already said that I was an elder because in the trans and gender nonconforming community, I am actually kind of an elder, which is wild. And I want to talk about how amazing elders are. And how much we need them, how vital they are in our communities and in our lives. Those of you who already get this, I don't have to tell you nothing. You can do the experiment that I just did myself, and that might be wonderful for you, I don't know. For those of you who have not gone on to the fact that elders are amazing, please take a moment, pause, hit the pause button with your pause, and consider that the wisdom, the experience, the beauty, the grace that is present in so many elders is a treasure that is waiting for you to do what? To pay attention, to slow your ass down, and to be present and to listen. Because stories are one of the biggest things that elders give us. They give us stories of their lives lived powerfully. Sometimes they give us stories of really messed up things that they've done. And we have the ability then to take that information and apply it to ourselves, to go towards the things that were really successful for them, maybe, to try them out, and also to avoid some of the pitfalls. I mean, isn't that great that humans, we don't actually have to do things sometimes. We can just have it modeled for us and go, no, I don't want to do that thing. Elders are an incredible resource, and in so many cultures in the world, they're treated like treasures. Not in this culture, this youth-obsessed culture. What do? We ignore and we warehouse elders. We kind of like cut them off. And yes, I know that demographically there's still a whole set of power that is attributed to some elders. You know, the baby boomers' influence, which, by the way, I am the last year. 1964, I'm the youngest of the baby boomers. That would be me, going to turn 57 this year. That's right. Just getting good now. And many of those elders have just incredible things, even if you don't agree with them politically, socially. There's stuff to hear. I'm not saying to violate your boundaries by any human being that is not respecting you. That's not cool. I don't care. You don't get my respect just because you're old or you're an elder. You get my respect because you are living a life that is meaningful, that is deferring to kindness, to connection, to the things that make life wonderful and make it better for everybody, right? The 4 elders I want to give a little something, just a little bit about, are the Crones. Who are the Crones? The Crones are my mom and her 3 BFFs from when she moved from the Detroit area, from the suburbs, to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan to a small village called Garden on the Garden Peninsula. My mom, she moved because she had to. They could not live anymore in the suburban area that we lived in, that I grew up in. They couldn't afford it, so they renovated our cottage, which was never meant to be a home, a year-round home. They put an addition on, and they're going to live their lives there. My dad died in 1990, so my mom basically lived up there by herself for a little bit. My brother then moved up there with his family. And my mother lived up there without the kind of connections that she had had in suburban Detroit and Farmington Hills. And she was really anxious about this. She was anxious that she was going from a metropolitan area to a very rural, insular community. And she was worried about finding kindred spirits. And she found kindred spirits, especially after my dad died. She found these incredible women. She found Nancy, Eleanor, and Margot. And the four of them I call the Crones because, wow, were they filled with wisdom and humor and irreverence and power. And I couldn't wait to get up north to visit my mom just so I could have an opportunity to hang out with the Crones at a restaurant/bar. Now, by the way, the Crones were a little raucous. They actually got kicked out of bars. Yes, they did. They were a force to be contended with. Nancy was the eldest and had lived this extraordinary life. And actually, we became friends after my mom died. And I would go over to her house and she would tell me these incredible stories from having, I think she was born in like 1918, having lived this long ass life. She told me how it was when FDR was elected and how that shifted things for her, and how she used to get into like wrangles with her husband, who was a Republican and she was not. And she would talk to me about how it was to basically go through, the Depression and to go through all these eras, how it was when Kennedy was shot, how it was the changing of the ideas of what it was to be a woman as feminism took hold in a different way in the second wave, all that stuff. She would give me such stories. And then there was Eleanor, this mom of so many. I can't remember how many kids she had. Those kids, by the way, adored her. She was this fierce feminist, but the thing about Eleanor was that she was so kind and so gentle. There was such a graciousness about her. I remember one time she came over to my mom's for Christmas. It was myself and my partner at the time, my mom and Eleanor, and she got schnocked on Southern Comfort and actually fell backwards in her chair. We laughed. She was okay. But she would just inject with this incredible political awareness, this grace, this kindness to the discourse. Amazing. And then there's Marge House, who changed my life. Marge House, who is a force of nature still, even though she's died. Powerful feminist, thinker, spiritually active, alive human being who really didn't have a lot of room for foolishness. Even though she herself had some powerful humor and levity, she was a very serious human being, a very fierce human being, a believer in potential and possibility, who stewarded her children on to incredible success in their lives and could see people's magic and would try to foster that magic in all the ways that she could with her resources and with her deep belief. She had incredible belief in people. It was remarkable. And then there was my mom, Sally. Oh, funny, intense. I've talked about her a lot during this whole project, and I'll continue talking about her. The thing about my mom, though, she was so incredibly accepting of humans for who they were. She couldn't give a shit about, like, your status or your gender she had a little problem with me being trans-identified. My mom did struggle with that. But she didn't have any problems with my sexuality. She didn't have problems with anyone. She didn't care about the particulars. She cared about you. And she wanted to connect with you powerfully. And that kind of support was remarkable. So all these aspects I admired in them. I appreciated in them. I was gravitated to being. The gravitational pull of them brought me to want to be with them again and again. You know, I went on a vacation with the four of them to a lighthouse in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We spent the night at a hotel and did a lighthouse exploration. It was wonderful. I was the carrier of all the stuff. I brought everyone's stuff up to their rooms. It was such a pleasure to serve them and to take care of them in the little ways that I could, to pay them back for all the grace and beauty and love that they had given to me through the years. Elders are treasures. We need to understand that. You know, hopefully we all become elders. Elders that are admired. You know, what a great thing to think that you get admired at some point in your life for having lived a powerful life. I mean, that's pretty fucking cool. So the experiment today, it will be in the Patreon. If you go visit it there, I'll put it in the YouTube link. The experiment today is to think about an elder that impacted you and that you admired. Think about what you admired about them. And think of a story that you have about them and tell that story. Share that story with someone else. Post it on social media. In some way, let that story move on. And if you're lucky enough that the elder still is alive, reach out to them. Let them know that you admire them and why. Give them some good love. Because, you know, we don't love our elders in any way, shape, or form the way that we could, should, would, whatever. You know, this culture needs to gravitate towards respecting the wisdom of elderhood and all the benefits and the wisdom of youth, all of it. Just respect people. So, love up on your elders. I hope that you become elders. I hope you live long enough to become an elder. And I'm grateful for this process with you. Thank you. We do this thing together. We do this thing together.